3 years ago today, on my son's first birthday, I completely broke down. Like I really lost it. Something snapped in me so deep, like deep at my core. And I thought that today would be the day that I finally share with you my whole story. And I show you or share with you what actually helped me change and arrive at this day today where I feel so settled in my body, so stable in my body. I trust my body, probably for the first time ever. For the first time, I can actually consciously remember I feel stable and safe and I trust. So if you ever looked so fine outside, but really fried and miserable on the inside, then this is for you. So let me take you back to that night because I can remember it so vividly. I was just cleaning up after my son's first birthday and I was washing dishes. And then suddenly I started crying. But it's not the crying that you would know. It's this type of crying that I never experienced before. Like it was, like it came deep from my core, like from the depths of my being, like it was uncontrollable, it was gut-wrenching, it was really heartbreaking. Because I realized I've been holding my shit together for so long. And then I was holding it so well. Like I was the best at holding my shit together, I was crushing it on the outside. But inside, I was completely fried, if I may say. And I realized also that feeling wasn't new. It had been there quietly for years, but it was always pushed away. Always, later, tucked away. But that night, like watching my son blow out the candle on his first ever birthday cake, I realized it really hit me like a truck that his life is only just starting, His whole life is in front of him. He is a pure joy. He's a pure awe. He's like a bundle of aliveness and curiosity. And I, on the other hand, like when I was watching him, I couldn't stop thinking that my life is over. Like there's no joy left in life. There's nothing new or exciting waiting for me. I was 33 and I felt sad, fat, inflamed, exhausted, covered in acne, bloated all the time. Like I was heavy in my body and empty inside. I was so full of it. Like I was so full of lies that I've been telling myself for years, performing for approval, doing everything right. And I was just looking at him blowing this freaking candle. And I kept thinking like there was supposed to be a pot of gold waiting at the end of this fucking rainbow. Like that's what they promised me. They promised me if I do everything right, if I get the diploma, if I have the studies, if I have the job, the promotion, the career, the family, when I'm finally a mom, like I'm just gonna make it. There's gonna be this pot of gold. But instead, like I arrived at the end of the rainbow and I felt like I've arrived at nothing. There was nothing here, just the pain and misery and disappointment and so much anger, So that night really for me was a crossroads, and I can see it so vividly, so clearly right now. Because I could have done what I've always did, like wipe away my tears, plaster a smile over my face, and just go back to, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And you? And yeah, just perform harder and push it down and just keep going. But something snapped so badly in me that I was really tired of my own bullshit. And I genuinely, for the first time in my life, didn't want to pretend. I wanted to change. So instead, I looked at the other side, at the other path, the one that looked really dark and was covered in fog and was really windy. And I didn't even see what's out there, beyond maybe the first step. But there was like this air, this eerie feeling of hope, very faint in the air. And I decided to follow that path, and when I finished the dishes, I sat down and I Googled, because that's what we used to do before chat, right? Who still remembers that good old times? And I Googled something like how to get my spark back, or something very generic like how do I get energy after 30? And there, on the second page, probably first or second page, there he was, waiting for me, the father of biohacking himself, the almighty Dave Asprey, and his book Smarter, Not Harder. And I instinctively felt like, this is it, this must be it, So I bought the book, I devoured it, and that night, that evening and the day after, I just read the whole thing, and I was like, this is it. That's how my biohacking journey started. And I wish I could say, this is it, peeps. The rest is just the history. That's how I arrived at where I am at today. But no, biohacking, or this whole thing, was just like a level 1 of my healing. So biohacking worked really fast for me, but it definitely didn't set me free. But still, let me not get ahead of myself. So after that night, I really went in fast and hard, because that's what I do, right? I'm a high achiever. If I'm in, I'm all the way in, and I'm gonna do biohacking better than you do. Definitely better than Dave Asprey even, And yeah, I started biohacking like it was my second or a third job, basically. So all the food changes and supplements and protocols and routines and tracking, all of it, you name it. And I'm not gonna lie, it worked. It worked fast for me, especially for the weight. I lost all the kilos really, really fast. I felt fit, and also my energy went up. I used to have no energy. I have no energy when I was depressed to get out of the bed. But now I finally started okay, I feel like doing shit. And I felt better than in years. And there was a moment, probably sometime towards end of the summer that year, when I felt like I genuinely made it. This is it, guys. I fixed myself. I'm the best biohacker ever, That's what I thought. And yeah, in some ways I was crushing it. But about a year in, I noticed something. I was fit, yes. I was functioning, yes. I had more energy, but still, I was bloated. My acne was still the same, it wouldn't budge. My mood was all over the place. My PMS was intense, you guys. I was probably what you call batshit crazy, really. I am so sorry from that place for, to my husband. Sorry. Little change of scenery because it's chaos out there behind this door, but I'm really determined to get this video out here today. So here we go. As I was saying, I knew that something was still off, for sure my progesterone, my estrogen were still off. And no matter how many healthy things I was doing, what I was Googling, another protocol, etc., my body has hit a wall, And I've realized that biohacking got me functional, but it certainly did not get me free. Sure, there was this upgrade on the surface, on the outside, with weight and energy, etc. But the deeper patterns were still running the show. And this is important because I think a lot of us get stuck here, We start taking care of ourselves, clean up the routine and pick new habits, and you even get results. but then you still don't really feel settled in your body. You still don't feel at home in your body, you know, like you're actually stable, because the biology is only one layer. So I really kept going. I kept searching and researching and optimizing, and I took so many courses, you guys. Like I was taking every course out there that I thought would fix me, you know, that would provide a missing puzzle in this whole jigsaw. And then in May 2024, I went to London for the Health Optimization Summit, and I was so excited because, get that, it's like a Disneyland for biohackers, you know? So there were like all the fancy tech stuff, like the hyperbaric oxygen chambers and red light therapy and some brain simulation devices and whatnot, you know? All the fancy stuff you can imagine. And I loved it, obviously. But what really stuck with me, there was this one lecture. It was about root cause detox. And I swear, when I was listening to it, it's like my whole body got really quiet. It was like something inside of me said like this is what you've been missing, you know, in your obsession and with adding more protocols and diets and workouts and supplements. You've been missing what you actually need to take out. And the deeper truth was that my body was actually carrying the load it couldn't clear, and it was years of the load. And here comes probably the least glamorous part of this video, and perhaps even too much information for you, but I think it's important for the context of this video that you know my starting point. And the truth is that I've been constipated ever since I was 15. And for me, it was normal to think that you go to toilet once every week. So you poop every 5, 6, 7 days, you know. That once at 26, I was so constipated, I didn't poop for an entire month. And now looking back, with all the knowledge that I have today, like of course I was so miserable. Like I had so much shit inside of me, literally and figuratively, right? Because I just wasn't going to toilet. And I really normalized it, right? Like I think especially for women, we normalize it. Like for bras, the poo is a sacred thing, you know? And for girls, it's a taboo topic. Like you never actually talk about it. So I never had idea or a clue that actually this might be like not such a good thing to, you know, health-wise, not to poop every day. But today I know this, and looking back, of course, I was in such a bad state. Of course, I was covered in acne. Of course, I had all the symptoms like bloating, etc. Because just my body couldn't drain every day. Which means that you actually reabsorb like these same toxins from 20 years ago. They are probably still circulating in my body. Like how crazy is this? So I've heard this somewhere from one of the detox guys that biohacking, you know, without the detoxing, it's like spraying perfume on a shit. And actually, looking back, I couldn't agree more with this, because yes, I was doing all the things, right? I was doing the supplements and the fancy protocols and the red light therapy and whatnot. But still, I wasn't eliminating every day. So it literally, and that was the moment that I really, like it hit me that I didn't need more hacks. That what I needed is actually to clear what's been stuck for years, most probably, and to give my body space, like literally to create space in every cell of my body, and to give my body the chance to do what it's been designed to do, what's it great at, which is to heal itself. But it can. So then I came back home, and of course I did what I do the best, which is go fully in. Like I already won the best at biohacking badge. So now I'm gonna add to my collection best at detoxing kind of badge, you know? And yeah, it wasn't like your green juice kind of detox, 3-day cleanse or whatnot. It was actually like legit protocols that I'm not gonna mention here because I think without context it's not good to do it. I was set on flushing all the toxins, pesticides, heavy metals. I was like a terminator, determined to kill all the parasites and whatnot. And it was rough, I got symptoms that I didn't really have before, like headaches, for example, or I just felt dizzy at times. So I knew that like my body was telling me to slow down. So I kept like experimenting until I arrived at a version of detox that felt good for my female body, because that's also something we don't talk about, that most of the detox protocols out there, they are really like bros kind of protocols, very harsh. So I needed to take a step back, and then I applied cycle syncing to it, and that's how the like a nourishment-led body safety first detox protocol was born. And yeah, so I felt quite shit, I must admit. And also, apart from that, like the worst was that my acne, like it blew up. It was the worst than it had been since my 20s. It felt like this 25, 26 very old, version of me all over again, and she came to humble me. That was the time that I had the worst acne in my life, and she was back. And that really messed with my head, because imagine that I'm biohacking, I'm healthy, I'm already here on, social media, and I am covered in acne, but the kind of acne that not even foundation can hide. So I had this wild imposter syndrome throughout all this time, but that's a story for another day. So I knew also that acne wasn't random, that it's just a part of the detox, right? But then, in the middle of all this chaos, I started to see results after a couple of months. Like the bloating really started to settle. My mind was so sharp, man, like it was on. And my energy was through the roof. I genuinely felt like my body finally had, space. And it was catching breath, finally. And then I remember I was thinking again, okay, this must be it. Like root cause detox, but done the female way. That's the thing. That's the thing that's gonna heal me. But even then, after a year into that, even with better energy and better digestion and daily poops, I could still feel that something was running me. Like emotionally, I was still all over the place. I was still batshit crazy before my period. I was looping and stuck in this blame. I was very tight in a way, very contracted and very reactive as well. I had been doing therapy at that point for a while, like over half a year or more. And yeah, it was helping, but it wasn't really shifting the patterns the way I needed, the patterns that were running me. And that's also when I realized, like, sure, you can clean up your biology and still be like living in survival mode inside your nervous system, and still like without questioning the foundation of it all, you're still hitting a wall at some point, right? But I think the biggest thing for me was really that I just kept blaming everyone around me for why I feel so miserable. Like I had a great results on the outside. I was already doing so many things and feeling better than ever, but still, like anytime I would get emotional or I would think about my life, I would be blaming everyone why I'm at this point or why I am not where I want to be. And yeah, of course, the closest people to me got the worst. So specifically blaming my husband or blaming my parents, etc., etc. And then in October 2024, I decided to do a plant medicine journey. And let me say this clearly, this is not a recommendation. This is like serious stuff. It's not for everyone, and I'm not gonna romanticize it. It also, of course, depends which plant you decide to sit with. For me, it was like I've been going to therapy, I've been doing all the things, but I still felt like I'm hitting the wall. And I just couldn't unwind myself from the patterns, you know? So after the months of preparation work, really, I decided to sit with the plant. And I prepared, right? Of course I prepared. I'm the girl who prepares. So I had a whole fucking list of the questions and the topics that I want the plant to answer and clarify and address. And I just came in there like I knew throughout our preparation that it doesn't work like this. But still, like, you know, I'm an overachiever. I'm overly prepared for everything. So I arrived with my freaking list there. And in there were the things like, okay, answer this question. What am I to do with this life? You know, the relationships. And I genuinely thought that everyone else is to blame for where I'm at and not me, you know. But then what the plant showed me was the exact opposite. Like, the plant didn't even bother to look at my lists, right, of my questions and topics to address. Like, it really showed me something completely different. And what it showed me is that what it showed me was me. It showed me that at the root of it, of all of it, is that I've been abandoning myself for years. And there were two pivotal moments in all of this, and I'm gonna share them briefly here just for context. But basically, it showed me the first scene, like you do, like in and out all the time. And the first thing it showed me has been the abuse from the school that I've buried for 20 years plus, basically. Like, I knew there was something. I always knew there was something. Like, I was living behind the glass wall, and behind there was something, but I never knew the extent to which it has happened, what it actually was, for how long. And the first thing that the plant showed me was that situation. And I just want to say that right now there is so much like the ego or the mind gets such a bad rep nowadays, you know, like, oh, it's your ego, it's your mind is overthinking, your mind is doing this, you should just be your essence. But I have so much love and so much gratitude to my mind, because it has hid from me something that I wasn't able to process in the moment. And that's like the definition of trauma, right? So it's not so much about what happened to you, even though what happened is horrendous, but it is like how you responded to that, how your body responded to that. And what happened was just beyond my coping capabilities. And the way my mind and body chose to protect me was just to bury this and make me forget. And now it was revealing it to me in the moment when it thought that I'm actually ready to address it and to process it. So that was the first missing piece, you know, because once I saw this and I realized like how this shaped my whole freaking life, why I am running away constantly. I don't even know why I am running, but I am running, definitely, you know, why I am always pleasing, why I feel so unsafe to show myself or to get any kind of attention, you know, because for me attention was danger. Why was I even constipated? Like, this all is connected, you know. I was in a constant stress, like I was running away from the invisible tiger ever since I was 12. And after years of that, after 20 years of that, no wonder I finally broke. So that was one thing. And the other was just like when I went in again was little me, around 7 years old, and she would stand there dead serious. And she would look me in the eyes, like straight into my eyes, and she would say, "Zapomniałaś o mnie," which means you forgot about me. And then she would say like, "You don't know even what you like. who you are. You forgot our dreams, how we were. Like, you just don't know yourself. You're so busy with everyone around you. You're busy with pleasing everyone, but you actually don't even know how to make yourself happy. So this really like hit me so badly because it was so true. Because somewhere in between, you know, the performance, the stunning performance, the approval, the routine, all the achievements, like I really forgot who I was. What do I even like? What do I value? Who do I want to be? What is mine, like truly mine? And what was conditioned into me to witness? Though I also think that plant medicine, and now I am going, you know, on a wild chase here, but I also genuinely think that it's not going to show you something that you're not ready to receive. So in a way, yes, I was ready to receive all of it, and I was so glad that I did. But this experience left me so broken. It was probably the worst state I was in, like late 2024, because I just like uncovered all these pieces of me. And okay, here's the abuse part, like, what the fuck do I do with this? And then there is this other question, like, who the fuck am I? And like, and what do I do with this? Like, how do I untangle this? And I had the post-integration, and still it wasn't enough. So I was going to therapy. Then I tried more therapists and hypnotherapy and like different modalities of healing, you know. And some of it helped, yes. I cannot say that it didn't. But I kept noticing this pattern that, okay, I go in, I talk about the past, I dissect the story over and over, and we talk about details and this and how it made me feel. Of course, I'm freaking angry and I'm ashamed and I'm all of these things. And I would cry, I would bawl my eyes out, and then the session is over, right? And it's just like, okay, till the next session. And I'm like, okay, so I would be broken for the rest of the day. And like, what do I actually do from here, you know? Like, what good does it do to relieve the pain and the story all over again every week, and not learning how to live differently, you know, because I have this life to live and I actually have energy to live it right now, right? But I just don't know what to change. How do I approach this? Because we just keep talking about the past, but I never actually arrive at the conclusion. How do I live right now? Because I have a child, I have a business, I have a job that I have to show up to and moderate the calls and workshop and whatnot. And I just like, yeah, how do I function and live, not just survive, but live the life that I actually want to be living, no matter how horrendous what happened in the past is, you know? And then towards the end of 2024, I saw this ad on Instagram, and I think that was yet another divine intervention in my life. Like, I just don't know how to call it any other way. Like with when I saw the biohacking and the detox, and then I saw this ad for this coaching certification, and it was structured like for the first months you would actually work on yourself, right? You would try all the tools on yourself, and it would be the somatic work, and it would be the nervous system regulation and mindset and identity rewiring and aligned actions, you know? So you work with what's present, and from there you actually change. So you don't go on and dwell on the past over and over again and dissect it and turn it to the left, to the right and whatnot. You work with what's coming up, and probably it's gonna come up, right? It's a huge fucking thing that happened. But from there, you actually focus on what is it teaching you and what is the action, you know, stemming from that. And again, something in me went like, oh my God, this is it. Because as I say, it wasn't just processing what happened, it was learning how to change what happens next, given, you know, all the past. And that was the biggest difference for me. You know, like therapy helped me like dissect the story. Coaching helped me rewrite my life. And I know it sounds big and it sounds dramatic, but it is. And yeah, in about 6, 7, 8 months, I really changed the way I was thinking and changed the way I was being, and I didn't think it was possible. Like my inner dialogue has shifted. I went from being like my biggest hater my whole life to being the biggest fan that I have. I know it sounds cringe, but it's true. I learned how to be with my emotions without them letting to drive my life, you know. I learned how to listen to different parts of me. The scared one, the angry one, the little one, the inner critic one, the abused one, the perfectionist, shamed one. I mean, I tell you, it's like a inner cat fight right now when I have all these parts of me sit together. But you know, the key is like I learned to listen all of them and not to reject them. But from there, I'm not letting any of them drive my life anymore. I'm not letting the scared one, the abused one to drive me. I'm not letting the angry one. Well, sometimes I do still, right? But I snap out of it really fast and I'm like, okay, girl, I see you. But you cannot drive this car, right? You're gonna crash all of us very soon. So yes, it's a work, it's an ongoing work, but at least I had the space, awareness, and tools to do so. And yeah, I started really to make decisions from clarity, you know, not coping or conditioning. And I left my corporate job as a result of it. I lost a very comfy crutch that I thought I'm gonna carry on for a long time, you know, but this whole experience gave me so much confidence to actually follow what I want to be doing, right? But the biggest thing really wasn't even the job. It was remembering who I am. And I know you hear this all the time, like everyone talks about remembering who you are. And it can be annoying, like what the heck does it even mean? I know I was there. But for me, it was really about that. It's to understand who am I, who the 7-year-old version of me is, what does she like, what are her dreams, where do we go from now? You know, so I let go of the conditioning and the emotions and the abuse that was clouding my judgment and was driving my life for so long. And finally, I'm in the fucking driver's seat here, right? I really did regulate my nervous system, and I integrated my trauma. The biology, the rest of it finally responded. Because you have to understand, when your nervous system is in survival mode, when it is stuck, right, your body is in defense mode. And just healing does not happen in defense, and it's like a biological given. So only when you regulate, the rest can follow. So that's really when my skin started clearing. Like I got the damn glow at 35, soon 36, the one that I've been chasing ever since I was 15, you know. And my cravings calmed down, and I had huge, impossible cravings for chocolate. And my cycle became so much easier. I'm not batshit crazy anymore before my cycle. I feel so much stable and calm, and my energy is steady, you know, not because I found the magic bullet or the supplement, but because my system finally felt safe. It finally felt that, okay, guys, like she is not running away from the tiger anymore. She actually knows how to be with herself. She knows when she needs a break. She knows how to bounce back. She gives us space. She gives us the raw materials, you know, to build and operate this amazing machine. But also, like, she just finally trusts us. This is a mutual thing. Like, I trust my body, and my body trusts me, finally. And I think that's really the message that I want to leave you with. that like biohacking or overly focusing on the physical aspect of your human expression without emotional or mindset work is like optimizing on a cracked foundation. You know, it will get you some results, but you will hit the wall. And equally, on the opposite side of it is like the whole spiritual community, let's say. You work so much on your mindset and on the connection to the spirit and to your essence, but you forget your biology, right? So it's like a, I don't know, motivation on empty tank. Like you are there manifesting and aligning your vibration and whatnot, but you're not sleeping, you're not eating, you're not nourishing your body, you're not detoxing. Then of course you don't even have energy to do all these things that you meditated on, right? So real health is really the expression of all of these. It's the body, it's the state, so the nervous system, the emotional state, and it's also your meaning, your purpose, your dharma. And when you have these three, I think this is when the real healing really happens. That's what the true health is. So really, if I was to summarize this or to zoom out, I went through 3 levels of healing. That's how I see it, right? The basic one for me was really the biohacking, got me some results, but still I was so obsessive and so pushy and like miserable in a way inside, though outside I was getting results. Yeah, it got me functional, right? But it still didn't give me the freedom and the true health that I wanted. So level 2 for me was the detox. I mean, it really went deeper. I understood how my biology works. It was like a real clearing of, you know, drainage and liver and lymph and toxic burden. And that's where the deeper symptoms started moving for me. And that's where I, you know, understood that you really can't out-supplement a backed up system, you know. But the level 3 or level 3 plus beyond, like an infinite, is what changed everything for me. It's really regulation, identity, and meaning. Because if your nervous system is living in survival, even quietly, your body will keep fighting your goals. And it's not because you're weak or you lack willpower, it's because your system thinks it's unsafe. If I was to do this all over again, if I rewind, I go back to this night of the first birthday of my son, when I completely broke down, what I would have started with, or what I would have advised that woman, was to start with the nervous system regulation first. Was to start with letting out the emotions a little bit, so that there is some kind of space, right? A space where you can start unraveling some patterns, where you can start sending signals to your body that this freaking tiger is actually not chasing you anymore, that you can sit down and you can heal and you can rest without guilt, and that you can prioritize yourself, and that you are not like a maid to everyone else, right? And you're not also a victim. And I would give you a couple of practices to start slow, to start regulating yourself as you implement more tangible things, right? So once you understand this, that the nervous system is really the master, right? And how your hormones work, from that place, when you catch a breath, when you finally feel like you can, you know, you deserve the changes, you deserve better life. You're not fixing yourself, you're giving yourself space, right? From that place, I would then start with all the other things that I was doing, with the nutrition, with the sleep, with the detox, and the biohacks, the fancy biohacks, I would have kept for the last. So the conclusion is, if you're at the beginning of this journey, just flip it backwards and it's not gonna take you 3 years. It might take you, you know, like half a year or less, or depend how committed you are, etc., right? But it can definitely shorten the curve for you. And I promise you, you will come out so much also happier and more joyful and more present at the end of it, you know? So that's this, peeps. That's my journey, and I hope it has illuminated something for you, that it was helpful in some way. Maybe it has shifted something in your perspective or gave you some insights, you know. And if it did, I would love to hear your feedback or any thoughts that came through. That's this. I guess I'm over and out, and now I go to celebrate my son's fourth birthday. So that's this.